Hi, Edwin.
Hey Glenn, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
Doing well, doing well.
Good.
I think we are streaming live now. So
All right. Sounds good. Edwin, how will we know if other people want to ask questions or have comments?
they typically, the way we've done it in the past is they can submit their their comments in the on the YouTube channel, and I can see that.
Okay, great. Great, great. Are you actually at the building?
I am, yeah. I probably could have done it elsewhere, but I didn't want any thing with the streaming to go wrong. So
Oh, that makes total sense.
before we start before we start the meeting, though, I will kind of probably explain if anybody's watching how they can comment.
That'd be great. I'll just let you start, and then I
Okay.
guess I'll call it to order and ask for, just a roll call.
Okay. Sounds good.
And then we'll have to approve the minutes from last meeting.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And then the goal will be to kind of winnow the list down, or kind of talk about the different proposals and winnow the list down.
Yep. Correct.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah. No problem. I had to rush from a Cub Scout meeting, so I got here just a little bit ago.
What age is your Cub Scout?
He is 8 years old.
Oh, very good.
So,
Very
yeah.
good.
Yeah. I'm probably going to be camping here in a few weeks.
Wow, very good.
In a
Hopefully
tent.
you beat the heat a little bit here.
Yeah.
Where will you guys be going?
I'm not sure. I can't remember exactly the site, but some yeah, some park around here. I'm not sure. I can't remember, but I know
That's
I haven't
local.
slept. I know I haven't slept in a tent in many years, and I'm going to be doing that here in a few weeks. So,
Very good. Those pads are pretty awesome.
yeah,
The
yeah.
pads, sleeping
My back will
bags,
probably need
are pretty special.
it.
Yeah, you can kind of go over a lot of routes. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Now, how many kids you guys have?
We have two, a
Okay.
7 and an 8 year old.
Oh,
So,
wow.
an
Okay.
8 year old daughter or 8 year old son, 7 year old daughter. So.
Very good. Is she a Girl Scout as well, or?
She actually she went to the informational meeting this year.
Okay.
COVID kind of messed things up last year,
Yeah.
so um, and I don't know whether she wants to do it or not. So
Understandable.
she does dance, so that's kind of her thing.
Okay. Very good.
Did you have a soccer game or practice tonight?
Just a practice. Yeah, usually I practice with them after school at 3:30. So we go 3:30 to 5, and that gets them home for dinner and homework and all that good stuff. So
Yeah.
uh, that's probably 95+% of our practices are at that time.
Okay.
particularly once we hit the fall, with school starting and everything. So,
Right.
yeah, so that's kind of how we do it. But then games are usually start either at 5, 6:30, or 7:30. So I try to get them home for dinner on the other night so we don't have games. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Kind of a reasonable compromise.
Yeah. These days you pretty much eat dinner at 4 o'clock or 10 o'clock.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, we got in from Owen County last night at 9:30, so 9:15. But yeah, so once you get out a little bit, it takes a while to get back.
Yeah.
So, but it's fun and they enjoy it. And the season only goes we start in July and in early October, so it's short. Plus, it keeps me off the streets at night.
Yeah.
Hey, Jeff.
Hey, Jeff. Just need one more for a quorum. Hey, Heather. Hi, Julie. Julie, Heather, can you all hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Hey, Robert. How are you?
Great. Doing well.
Good. Heather, I can't hear you if you're talking. No. Julie, Amy, can you all hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Okay. Let's see. We have everyone here. Heather, can you speak to see if you're coming in?
Still
No.
not.
No, still not. All right. Mayor, can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yep.
I'm driving from the school, so
All right.
multitasking until I get home.
Well, be careful.
Yeah, they were telling me all about seniors and how much they cost in college. And I'm like, yeah, I already know that.
Same here.
All right. I guess we could probably go ahead and get started. Glenn, before you call the meeting to order, though, just a point of business here. If there are any people watching from the public, and if they have a comment at all, please feel free to comment on the YouTube video, or feel free to email me that a question or comment. That email address is eking, King, at Fort Mitchell, FORT Mitchell.com. And if you'd rather not type, you're more than welcome to dial my direct line at 859-426-6700, if that's easier. All right. With that, Glenn, I'll hand it over to you.
I think you're muted, Glenn.
Thanks, Robert. Yes, thanks everyone for joining us this evening for a special edition of the Park Board meeting. We really appreciate it. Before we get started, I just am looking for a quick roll call of members. Robert, you want to start us off?
Robert Simmons here. You muted.
Or if you can, just speak up, please.
What'd you say, Glenn?
Go ahead and just list your name, just to kind of get there.
All right, Jeff Epplin, present.
Thanks.
Julie Hart.
Thank you.
Amy
Heather
Wolfak
calling in.
here.
Okay, thanks, Amy. All right. And do we have anyone from the public that's here?
Edwin, this is Heather calling on the cell phone. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can, Heather. Thanks.
That's my number, the 6770.
Okay,
But
great.
my face will be here.
All right. It doesn't look like we have anyone on YouTube right now. Joe, can you see on Facebook whether or not there's anyone?
No, there's no one right now.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks very much. All right. So just kind of the first thing I'd like to do is do we want to approve the minutes from the last meeting?
Do we
Make a
call the
motion.
board? Do we call the board meeting to order via vote? Do we have to do it that way?
You don't have to, you don't need a vote to call it to
Okay.
order.
Okay.
We don't normally, but we can if needed. Okay.
I was just looking at the agenda, so, okay.
Okay, thanks. So just approval for the minutes from the last meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve, Glenn.
Okay, thanks very much. Do I have a second?
Amy, second.
Thanks very much. Okay, go ahead and get started tonight. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Edwin King and kind of let him describe kind of the purpose, set up the meeting with some of the materials that we received today. from Bayer and Becker. Edwin?
Yeah, thank you. So I sent you an email today with the links or with the files attached for you to take a look at. Bayer Becker put those together. I also just sent you a link that you can click on to access some of those documents as well, all in the one link if that's easier for you. But basically, you know, at last week's park board meeting, you all you narrowed it down to 3 for the playground equipment bids, and you had a few questions. Those Bayer Becker went out to those bidders and received responses to those, which I'll turn it over to Heather to talk through here in a bit. You narrowed it down to Mid-States Recreation, DWA Recreation, and Burke. Since then, Heather has called references, and I have called, they weren't listed as references necessarily, but I did call the cities, some of the cities and counties that some of these have worked for. Generally speaking, as you can see from Heather's remarks on the references, all the references really had positive things to say about each bidder. And I called the city of Gahanna with to discuss their Sun Point Park project. They said that they have used Mid-States Recreation and probably half of their 18 playgrounds. So that's Gahanna, Ohio. I spoke with several people from that have had experiences with DWA. DWA, Kenton County pretty much primarily uses DWA for most things, as does Boone County Parks as well. So they both work with DWA pretty extensively. Covington also does, and they all had very positive things to say about their customer service and the responsiveness to issues that might come up. I didn't receive. I received one call on Burke, but there wasn't a whole lot of. There were positive comments, but nothing too informational on that. So. And then I know Heather checked some references on that one as well. So with that, Heather, do you want to talk through some of the responses and add anything that I might have left out on the references checks?
Yes, I'm going to see if I can share my screen here. I don't know if this will work.
Great.
If you can.
Yes, we can. Yeah, we can.
Okay. So I sent the questionnaire out. You know, whatever it had to deal with the surface. Like one of the biggest things was the surface area just wasn't aligning with their numbers. So in sending that out was these were the questions that were sent. This one talks about safety surfacing, and then does it include everything underneath it? All the answers were yes. The base, the drains, everything underneath is included. And then they all put in their dates for when things needed to be ordered. And then these questions down here were, they could answer them now, or they could wait until they were one of 2 bidders selected. And then since I was like so worried about how this would fit, I just did like a little vignette to see where this is DWA. They had that 8,685 square feet. So it actually fits here. Like if you remember, it kind of the shaded area before followed this dash line. So it fits in there. Okay. And then the other 4, but we're down to 2, they were all smaller. So this is where those would fit. Like it would fit here. That's about 5,700 square feet. But I don't like how that looks, so I had to make a new one. It could be like that. It could be like that. I shared this with all of them. I mean, they each got their own, because I just wanted to make sure they understood what I was talking about. All right. So let's see if I can get back to. This is the playground reference check. I think you guys have already seen this. All of them were good. Anybody who had any issues with parts, it all seemed to work out. They were able to dodge around and get what they needed. So, like you said before, yeah, you're going to get good references. And I think what it is, we're dealing with like the top of the line manufacturers. So it more comes down to how's the installation, because the product probably is, comparable. Moving along. Okay, I'll start with, here's Burke. These were their responses that they sent. I made them blue for Burke. So this is the one where he sent an email back about the rubber surfacing. And I asked him, would it be like one continuous thing? And he said, yes, see the attached plan, which was the same plan he already sent. So it didn't really help me at all. So then I called him directly and asked him more questions. So I'll get to those in a second. Oh, here, I'll just go to it here. So this is, the red is kind of where they were saying the surface area is. So Burke sent the same plan, said this is how they calculated the 4,963 square feet. But when I draw this red line in, it's 13,350. So I was confused. So I draw this line in here, and that's like about 5,000 square feet. So I called him. I'm like, are you going to scoot all these over? Are you going to have grass in the middle here? What's going on? And his response was kind of odd, because it was just like, no, that's what we're doing. Place the equipment as close together as possible. There are some options. Leave the equipment as is and make the area smaller to save on surfacing. Space the equipment further apart, or leave it as it is for future expansion to add more equipment. Those areas, I think, are originally supposed to include hills or valleys for a different contour. I still am confused by that, but I mean, they do have the right square feet as long as they just move it all together in one spot. I think it would be fine. I just don't think he's understanding my question. And then I just put their items look like. So this is just as a review. This is the big structure. It has 3 slides, has a shade structure. It has this climbing structure, which is kind of cool because you're inside of it, so you can't fall out of it, but it's kind of like netted. And then there's this gliding device over here, so a wheelchair can get on and other people can get on and just swing back and forth. This was one of the parts where someone said when they first got it, it was so stiff they couldn't even get adults to move it, but they called them and they came and adjusted the tightness, and then they were fine. And then the small structure has 2 slides, so you basically climb up, 2 slides down. Same thing here, climb up, 3 slides down, or you get this climbing structure. We've got 2 different swing sets. They've got this cool disc swing, and then a couple of red spinner seats, and this kind of merry-go-round thing that's all-inclusive as well. This is just the other view of it. Does anybody want to say anything about Burke before I go to the next?
I will say, Heather, I will add, the references weren't, if you had to say they weren't as strong, I would say this probably weren't as strong as Burke, and not because they were negative, just because they didn't really have a whole lot to elaborate on, I guess. And then the responses that were received, I just felt like there was too much explaining going on. I wonder how that's going to translate during the construction process. So that's all my opinion, but.
Yeah, let's see, who did I talk to? I talked to Lacey Solomon and Kevin Bartow. They both had good things to say about them. I think that I don't know that there's many, not as popular here in Kentucky as they are out in Wisconsin. So that's the only, I don't even know if that's a negative thing. I just don't know that they're as popular. So, but they didn't sound bad. We will do DWA. These are their responses. We asked about how does their surfacing fit. They said all surfacing is turf with a 6-inch concrete curb. Outside of the area will be lawn. So they did adjust their site plan like we asked them. I can show you how I overlaid it on the CAD so you can see that. And they understood this concern and responded. Since someone's going to ask me my recommendation, maybe I would recommend these as one of the 2 bidders. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that, but I didn't want to wonder later. Here we go. So here I've overlaid their site. They still have this, it's pretty big. It's 8,600 and something feet, and they have room in between. So I'm not sure why they need that much space, because all these outer things are like the fall zone. But they're saying they are promising that much space. So that's nice. And then there's their equipment. Here you go on this small one, you go up. I think there's 2 or 3 slides, climbing like rocks. And I'll get to a bigger page of that. This big screen, or the big structure, has shade structures, 1, 2, 3 slides, 2 like blue climbing pieces to go up. This is the slide we said we could probably get rid of that slide and do something else. And they have the 2 sets of swings, a couple of those same spinning seats, they have a climbing log. And this next page, it's easier to see. They have a little drum thing here. I don't know when people were talking about like if heavy people would break things. I don't know. I'm guessing I'm not going to worry about that. I don't know how to calculate that. But this looks fun. This honeycomb climber here. These like ring climbers. Some panels. This is like a wider slide. That's kind of fun. Transfer area. And they have the ADA swing, couple baby swings, and typical swings. And then this is the old version. Their layout, they didn't give me a new piece of this, but it's been updated to that. So I thought they were good also. Anybody have anything to say about Burke?
I'll just
Or
add on
BW.
this, to me, this kind of lent itself to some of the things that the mayor had mentioned about, maybe some kind of hopscotch or some different colored areas for activities on the ground that would be really cheap to do, that we could maybe incorporate in this design. I think that this might give the surface area to do that. I'll also add that I spoke with Taylor Mill, who did the synthetic turf, as the mayor mentioned last week's meeting. And Taylor Mill, as we thought, confirmed that it's basically like carpet, and they can replace it whenever. And if there is an area that's more worn, let's say under the swings or something like that, it can be cut out and replaced. Now, if you have, let's say, green turf everywhere, and you have to replace a chunk of that by the swing, in all likelihood, it's going to be greener than the rest when you do replace it. So perhaps we could play with some colors, different colors under the swings, or areas that might be more worn. Maybe we put something that's a different color down as a thought. So,
Did they say how much it costs to replace sections at all?
Taylor Mill did not. They actually said they had some left after the construction, and they just recently replaced it from the scraps that they had left. It was a small spot by a swing set. So,
Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
They did talk about, I guess we didn't go over on the other one, the time that people were proposing. I mean, they're all getting it done by July 1st. I remember that Burke, you had to order it was earlier. Like you had to order their equipment probably 4 months earlier and 3 months earlier than the other two. But they're all basically starting the install in April, May, and Burke wanted it ordered like, I think it was October. I can go back and show you that one. Here, let's see. Okay, so they had, what is the process of ordering replacement parts for the equipment in the case of vandalism or normal wear and tear? It says contact them with a photo of the equipment and info, sign off on the quote. And then, will the safety surfacing be installed by a subcontractor? Yes. Can sections be replaced and high wear and tear? Yes, subcontractor will install. Lifetime warranty, 2 years. Sections can be replaced.
The other thing that some of the references told me, specifically Covington, Boone, and Kenton, in regard to the game time equipment, they said it was a really good. Some of them called it the Cadillac equipment. I don't know the merit of that claim, but they did say it was very good equipment and very easily replaced if something goes wrong. So.
Did I see on
The
that?
last,
I'm sorry. Did I see on that question and answer that if we wanted to do a different color, like underneath the swing set, it'd be additional? Does that say $1? Does it say like $1.05 a square foot on DWA?
that was, please explain the installation process or additional costs required to utilize more than one color of safety surfacing. So that kind of came from that question when someone said, oh, can we put like little animals or little shapes,
Okay.
different colors? So they said it's an additional $1.50 per square foot. Somebody else said it was not a different price. But if you start doing like little pieces and you have to stitch them together, then it of course will cost you some more.
Okay.
And all these companies can do turf or porcelain, so the cost is about the same. Usually, what I've seen is the turf is a little more. These guys have turf as a little less, but it was also hard to compare because they broke out. Everybody breaks out their prices in a different way, and so
Right. Okay.
exactly sure.
Perfect. Thank you.
Welcome. This is the last one. Okay. So their price includes everything for safety surfacing. They did ask if there's a plan showing existing storm drainage, because the words on the plan say all of your drains underneath the turf or poured in place need to be connected to existing storm drain. So they were asking where that was. So I look on the plan, I see one, but it's down the hill. So I think it's something that we didn't really address. So I thought it was good that they came up with that question because they were looking at the plan. So I'm just, when all of these are good, I'm trying to find some good thing that I feel like they have good attention to detail. Here's their dates. Ordering, they want it ordered by March 4th. 8 to 12 weeks from order, it will be shipped. They can install it in 10 to 12 days, depending on the weather. And then safety surfacing is 5 to 10 days, depending on the weather. Of course, the CYA, that depends on the manufacturer's actual lead time. They all say this. Okay. This, due to budgets, this is when we asked them about the square footage of the pavement, because these people had called before and said, we can't fill up this whole 1335, 350 with poured in place. Can we use some mulch? And so I talked to Edwin and we were like, well, you can provide an option like that, but also provide one that was just poured in place. So I don't think when I explained it to them, they understood, and that's why we got that second option that had it was like a path. And then since I've talked to you all these references, a lot of people do that. So it's not that weird to have a path between all the equipment and put mulch in between. But I thought it was odder before, but I guess not. So anyway, these guys, because they didn't have one comparative, I said, can you just give us a third option so that it's only on unitary surface? So they gave me this. This is the third option. I don't know if anyone saw the link yet. So now here's how big that would be. I think they changed this piece of equipment. I kind of like that one. Get to a bigger piece. This, I think, is the small version. Has a slide, a tunnel, shade. I think that's another slide. And there's some climbers here, transfer station and steps. I like these cubes. Those are fun. I have these at COSI. That is. It looks happy. And they have some panels here and a window, tiki window. Oh, it says black circle is. Maybe it's one of those tubes to talk to. I have a spinner. These are kind of cool, cozy chairs for Like they're considered part of the all-inclusive spectrum. Kids like to sit in them. The cubes, things, 288 chairs, 2 standard seats, 2 baby seats. At one of the net structures, which when I talked to the guy at New Albany, he said they go crazy over it, but he wouldn't suggest putting it everywhere because then, I mean, just diversify your equipment. So this got changed because the space was smaller and they had to do something more concise. But it's all poured in place now. Let's get back here. Did I leave any questions? Black.
So that option 3, that was either board in place or turf, or is that what I'm understanding?
Yes, it can be either.
Okay.
I think they wrote on it what it was, but I know it can be either.
Okay.
Everybody offers some of each. Let's see. Their replacement parts. Proudly handles all replacement parts and warranty claims in-house. He will directly work with our Kentucky representative, Brian King, on the types of requests. Ease of replacement depends on the piece and level of experience your maintenance team may have, or a selected mid-stage recreation installer would be able to perform the work for a fee. And then proposed safety servicing will be installed by a subcontractor, because I asked, are they doing it? But everyone's answer was a subcontractor installs the servicing. Pretty typical. Unitary surfacing comes from a company called Protex LLC out of Akron. They have branches throughout the country. Mid-States has a close working relationship with Protex. I think they're the ones that do the turf. Been primary surfacing subcontractor for many years. A typical warranty is 5 years from date of completion. Expected lifespan is about 15 to 20 years. Replacing high wear areas must be performed by the surfacing installer. And here they answered questions about additional colors. A port-in-place surfacing would require a return trip, additional time, and result in additional cost. Typically, each color needs to cure before the next can be done, highly dependent upon the complexity of the design. The use of multiple colors could result in seams, might be undesirable. The installation of various turf colors is a similar process, but there's no curing time to be considered, and the design patterns must be much more basic than that of poured in place. So there's options to do it, but I think, you know, if you're going to do 2 colors, it's probably more than one. Any questions here?
This is Jude Heeman. So the biggest thing that I heard on this that scared me is you're not understanding of the drainage. I mean, that was discussed very, very, very early on. I would put it back to Bear Becker, because I know that the park board and myself had lengthy conversations of stormwater. And so that scares me a little bit, that it's not detailed enough. And I'd really like to have your engineers look at that, because that should have been detailed. So
I agree.
that scared me a little bit.
That's,
And frankly, I think you guys hold a little bit of responsibility on that.
I'll check with Rob Keller tomorrow on that, see what the plan is. There may be a plan and I just didn't look closely at it. I think that's all there is. If anyone. Okay.
Board members, did you have any other questions, concerns, comments?
I don't at this time.
I do not.
Edwin, what is the key here to narrow it down to 2 in order for them to come in front of the board?
Yes, that is correct. So tonight, we hope that you would be able to eliminate one of these 3 to narrow it down to 2, and then next Tuesday's meeting, we will then bring in the final 2 to present. So if you have any thoughts or make a motion to do that, feel free to do that.
I mean, I think, you know, from my standpoint, I think DWA answered the questions, concerns I may have had with them based on the answer to the questions. I really liked Mid-States option 3 that was presented tonight. I didn't, you know, Burke did nothing wrong against, in my opinion. It's just, I have a stronger feeling towards DWA and Mid-States. But I don't think we could go wrong, whoever we choose. We just, you know, we can adjust things as we need to, but my thoughts to my other fellow board members is I really like DWA and Mid-States.
Pretty much had the exact same rating there. Mid-States proposal seemed to be the most favored. So it was really a matter of who came in second for me, and DWA, their familiarity with the other local establishments in the area, and Burke kind of working their way out. Just my own opinion. So
I agree. I
DWA,
agree with both of you.
I do as well. I don't know that we could make a mistake here, but I do think those 2 are clearly the better. So I don't know who spoke right before me. I'm sorry, it didn't pop up.
I
It's
agree.
Amy.
And Amy,
Oh,
yeah.
sorry.
Thanks. And then Julie, how about yourself?
Yeah, I agree. I think those are the 2 options that I think are the direction that I'm looking at going into. I mean, that I think make the most sense too.
So can we make a vote then to have a call for a vote to see if we want to eliminate Burke at this point?
Glenn, I'd make a motion to eliminate Burke from consideration.
second.
Second, okay, thanks. Let's just take a quick roll call vote on that. Jeff, will you go first for us?
If the vote is to eliminate Burke.
Let me be clear. The vote is to eliminate Burke from further consideration.
I would vote yes.
Robert?
Yes.
Amy?
Yes.
And Julie?
Yes.
Okay, and I agree. So that's a 5-0 vote. Please let the notes show that.
Will do.
And then Edwin, you're going to reach out and coordinate this for next week?
Yes, yeah, Heather, if you can proceed to call the final 2 and let them know. We have it scheduled next Tuesday at 7:30, and that is in person here in the city chambers, council chambers. Assuming that's still good with everyone.
And we're looking at like a 15-minute presentation for both of them, and then there'll be a debate and question and answer after that. I'm sorry, question and answer for the individual vendors, and then a debate among the board members. Is that correct? And a vote.
That's correct. So yeah, 15-minute presentation, 10 to 15 minutes of questions for each bidder, and then you all can deliberate after that.
Okay. I just want to make sure everybody's agreeable with that. I don't think we need a vote, but if anybody has an objection to that, I'd ask them to raise that now. Okay, I'm hearing none, so let's just go ahead and make that our agenda for next week, please.
Okay, we will send out the agenda along with tonight's minutes and have that ready for you all next week at 7:30.
Glenn, do you want the agenda to reflect comments from any residents at some point? So you hear their spiel. Are you going to take comments from residents at that point before you vote? Because you're going to vote to narrow it down to one.
Right.
Next week.
That's a good idea, actually. Let's have the agenda reflect community questions or concerns for the vendors. So we'll have, let's say, how about this? We have 15 minutes of up to 15 minutes of questions from park board members following the presentation, and then you want to say up to 10 minutes of questions from the community. Does anybody object to that? It's going to lengthen things potentially.
I got no issue with that, Glenn.
Okay, let's just do that and have a little extra Mountain Dew on the way, just in case we need to stay awake for a little bit later meeting. Okay, can you guys reflect that in the notes as well then? Thanks, Mayor. That's a good suggestion. I really
Yes,
was over that part of things.
Absolutely, we'll include that.
Okay, thanks.
All right.
Unless there's another matter to discuss, I'm looking for a proposal to adjourn.
I make a
So,
motion.
Looking for a second.
Second.
Thanks very much. I just want to tell everybody thank you very much for having taken the time out for a special meeting. It's greatly appreciated, and we'll see you guys next Tuesday at 7:30 at the City Building. Thanks everyone for attending.
Thank you all.